podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go, show recaps, predictions, sports.
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go.
What's going on, everybody? It's the EVP from the EVP Show, and we are live with your SmackDown recap. Lot to digest, obviously. 3-hour show. Still 4 weeks away from WrestleMania, obviously. We've seen some good things tonight, and we saw some not so good things tonight. Some of the stuff I just shake my head. I don't really know what they're doing. A lot of matches getting moved up. Obviously next week we're gonna see Kelly Roll and Kit Wilson. Julia defending the U.S. title next week against Tiffany Stratton, which I was originally supposed to be a Mania match. So I don't know what's happening with that. And then obviously the Bella Twins against Charlotte and Alexa, which is going to set up the multi-woman match at WrestleMania. I'm sure we'll see the Irresistible Forces show up in that one as well. I mean, a lot of Randy tonight. WWE's really trying to make him get, like, I don't know, trying to make him get booed, but it's not going to happen. Obviously, he had the telephone conversation again with someone on right before the last segment. Comes back out, shakes hands with the fans and all that. So, I mean, it was, I don't know, the ending was pretty good. The baddie stuff with Jade, definitely can tell the direction that they're going with that. Rhea's not gonna be away from Netflix, I don't think. So I like it that they're gonna plan on keeping the title on Jade. Putting her in a baddie faction. It makes a lot of sense. Like I said, they probably holding off for Jade and Bianca. So I saw that Rhea had an hairband in her hair tonight. So like I said, I highly doubt that Rhea's winning the title at WrestleMania. She's not. I don't think she's getting away from Netflix for too long. To see her going back over there with Rhea. I mean, with Io and stuff. Unless they get Io involved in this storyline, because like I said, we're getting about 4 weeks away from Mania, and a lot of still don't have any more matches announced. So yeah. But yeah, just some quick announcements. Obviously, April 26th, LFG Season 3 will be starting on my channel at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. WrestleMania Sunday. There will be no Sunday Scoop that week, so I will be watching the PLE on night 2. That's the night 2, the day of night 2. There will be a recap show that night, but I won't be doing Sunday Scoop that day. Haven't decided on Easter yet. So, yeah. Also, I got made a Twitter post about a week and a half or so ago. Got NXT 10 Deliver coming up in 2 weekends from now. So looking forward to that. The NXT prediction panel, April 1st, 7 p.m. Eastern. I got a couple of seats left for that. And then the WrestleMania prediction show will be April 15th. Hoping they got all the matches announced by then. I'm sure they will, but it's supposed to be at least 12 matches on the card. And right now we have Cody, Randy, Roman Punk, Liv, Stephanie, Rhea, Jade, and Open Rock. So right now we got 5 matches. So I don't know, maybe somewhere between 12 and 14. I can see at least. We got 2 women's matches already. So, and obviously that we're gonna see the tag the tag titles defended. So that'd be 3. Possibly see 3 more on the women's side. I just don't know where they're going to come from. Like I said, they're having Julia defend next week, so I don't know what they're doing with all that. I'll cover a lot of that on Scoops. So this is a 3-hour show, so a lot to get through. Like I said, a lot of good, a lot of fun, interesting stuff. Obviously, SmackDown started off with a bang, kind of ended with a bang. I'm sure we're gonna have something with Jacob and Drew in a couple of weeks. I don't know if we're gonna end up seeing a tag match or something. Maybe I can't possibly see them putting Randy and Drew together, but who knows? Thinking they're gonna have them tagged up or something before maybe Randy and Drew, Cody and Jacob or something before Mania. I don't know. We'll see. A lot to unpack. So we'll go ahead and get started. You guys just tuned in, obviously on my YouTube channel, my X or my Miami's X as well. Tonight, Wwe Smackdown is live from the Lenovo Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. Tonight, we're going to see the WWE Tag Team Champion MFT. It wasn't Solo Sikoa. It was actually JC Mateo and Tama Tonga. Freebird rules. Defend their titles against Damian Priest and R-Truth. And like I said, we were supposed to get the Samoan Werewolf Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre. That didn't, it happened, but not in a match. And obviously the Bella Twins going after the Tag Team Championship after not won the tag team titles before. Long time since they've been together in action. So yeah, they faced the Irresistible Forces, which was very predictable. With Charlotte and Alexa coming out as well. So, and then we're gonna see the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, which is looking at a possible heel turn at some sort. We saw Candice Reagan involved versus Braxton. And then the Viper will adjust his assault on WWE Champion American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. The Kit Wilson calls out Jelly Roll, which was funny. See where they're going with it, though. Obviously, Jelly Roll is facing Kit Wilson next week. So, the show opens up with a video package recapping last week's episode of SmackDown, where Randy Orton attacked WWE Champion Cody Rhodes during the contract signing segment that headlined the episode. So Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett welcome us to the show, and they talk about what Randy Orton did. Joe then said Randy will talk later tonight to explain things. He mentions the matches announced for tonight. We then see Jelly Roll pulling up to the arena, but WWE officials are running outside. And it is a car wreck out there, about bad car wreck. We see a car crash, and we see Drew McIntyre pull Jacob Fatu from the front car windshield. And he begins hitting him with right hands and slamming him onto the hood of his car. WWE officials then grab Drew McIntyre and break it up. Obviously, Jacob Fatu is busted open. Car crash to start off SmackDown. Inside the arena, Drew McIntyre makes his way out. McIntyre says the only place he should be wrestling is the main event of WrestleMania. That was taken from him. McIntyre then gets in the ring and says he is there to fight. Nick Aldis then makes his way out with security, and he asks Drew McIntyre what the hell is wrong. Aldis said every opportunity was given to McIntyre, and he still acts like a maniac. Aldis then said McIntyre talked about being on the way to WrestleMania, but the only way he is on his way to it, only thing he's on his way to is unemployment with the way he's acting, threatening to fire him. McIntyre then says he tried to quit, but they would love that. McIntyre then says he has a better idea. McIntyre then says Nick Aldis' son, Donovan, should be ashamed of his corporate stooge of a father. So definitely getting personal there with GM Nick Aldis. But then Jacob Fatu makes his way down with, like I said, his head was busted wide open. He makes his way down to the ring. Drew McIntyre throws him, comes out and meets him, throws him into the barricade. He grabs Jacob Fatu, but Fatu throws him into the ring post and into the ring steps. Fatu then throws McIntyre over the announce desk. Fatu then places McIntyre onto the announce desk. The officials break it up. They get Jacob Fatu all the way out into the crowd, into the couple of rows back. Jacob breaks through, jumps on the side of the ring, the outside of the ring, on the barricade, and he lands a splash onto Drew McIntyre through the table. Big, huge splash. Jacob gets up, starts dancing around, then walks away, but his head is busted wide open. So crazy start to SmackDown with the Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu stuff. I like what they're doing with that. As long as they pay it off at WrestleMania with some sort of big, huge stipulation match for sure. So after the chaotic start to SmackDown, we get the first match of the night. It's going to be for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Damian Priest and R-Truth make their way down to the ring for the first match of the night, followed by the MFTs. I love their entrance with the lantern. I guess it makes sense. They're wanting to get the tag titles off the MFTs. The tag titles on both divisions is very stagnant right now. They could finally put an end to this MFT and White 6 stuff at WrestleMania. I'm guessing they're going to do something with the lantern match or something like that. Finally can put an end to that feud. It's been going on for 6 months. Too long. Way too long. And obviously we've seen Tama Tonga. Looks like he's going to go on some sort of face run or something and get away from the bloodline, from the NFTs. So let's go to the match. The match starts off with Damian Priest and JC Mateo. Obviously, it's like I said, it's going to be JC Mateo and Tama Tonga, not Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga, but they have the Uncle Howdy lantern out there. They brought it out to ringside with them. Priest and Mateo start off, and Priest hits some punches and leaping flatliner. Priest hits a kick to Tama, and he hits side Russian leg sweep and a corkscrew forearm combination. Tonga Loa then gets on the apron, and Tonga pulls R-Truth off the apron. JC Mateo then clotheslines Priest over the top rope. Tala then works over Priest while Mateo assists with the distraction. Numbers game. JC Mateo then hits a forearm to Priest, and he sends him into the apron. They then return to the ring, and Tama Tonga tags in. They hit a double headbutt. Tama hits a sliding clothesline. Tama then delivers some roundhouse punches to Damian Priest and hits a double sledge. Priest fires back with a forearm, but Tama hits a forearm of his and starts to deliver some punches to Priest. JC Mateo then tags in. He delivers some shoulders, and he chokes Damian Priest in the ropes. Tonga Loa then hits a punch while JC Mateo distracts the referee. So they're all up in this match. JC Mateo then delivers some kicks to Priest in the corner. Tama Tonga tags in, and they hit a double clothesline. Tama then hits a northern lariat to Priest, followed by some punches. JC Mateo tagged in, they hit a double suplex. JC Mateo goes for the pinfall, but only gets a count of 2. JC Mateo hits a headbutt and some chops. And he delivers some punches. Priest fires back with some punches of his own, some forearms to get out of the corner. Mateo then stops Priest and sends him into the turnbuckles. So they're keeping Priest in the match for a while. Mateo then hits an uppercut, a forearm, and hits a standing moonsault. Goes for the count. For the pin, but Priest kicks out at 2. Mateo then hits a splash into the corner and he knocks R-Truth off the apron. They have definitely taken R-Truth out of this match at this point. Mateo then goes for another splash, but Priest hits a cyclone kick to JC Mateo. R-Truth and Tama Tonga then tag in, and R-Truth is on fire. He hits some flying shoulder tackles, and then a blue thunder bomb into a 5-knuckle shuffle, courtesy of John Cena. R-Truth just sets up for the attitude adjustment, but Tama Tonga escapes. Tama then hits an uppercut. JC Mateo gets a tag. Tama then hits a drop kick into a spinning belly to back slam for a count of 2. R-Truth then hits a kick to Tama and a cutter. Damian Priest is in and hits a splash off the step to Tama Tonga on the floor. R-Truth then hits a drop 2 hold into an STF on JC Mateo. Mateo gets to the ropes to break it up, but R-Truth then pulls Mateo into the center of the ring, but Solo distracts the referee. Tama Tonga pulls R-Truth and hits the choke slam on the apron. Mateo then gets goes for the pinfall, but R-Truth kicks out at 2, and then the screen goes black. At this point, pretty predictable at the end. And the Wyatts make their way to the aisle, and then the other half of MFT, besides Solo Sikoa, meet the Wyatts in the aisleway, and a brawl ensues. Obviously, they fight all the way back to the back. And Uncle Howdy then makes his way out. He comes up behind Solo Sikoa and he applies a mandible claw on Solo. But JC Mateo hits a super kick on Uncle Howdy and sends Howdy into the ringside barrier. So Uncle Howdy was the only one left with Solo out there. But it was enough distraction. So Mateo delivers that super kick, sends Uncle Howdy into the ringside barrier, and then R-Truth hits a split-legged lariat. Priest then clothesline Tama, and then R-Truth hits a Death Valley driver and goes for the pinfall and gets the 1, 2, 3. After a distraction from the Wyatt 6, R-Truth and Damian Priest are your new WWE Smackdown Tag Team Champions. So, like I said, they're trying to bump up the tag division, get the titles off the MFT, let them finish their feud with the Wyatts at WrestleMania for that lantern, and get some new storylines going on with them. They got some tag teams over there. Obviously, Street Profits are coming back soon, so interesting to see what they're gonna do. It's like we're getting a Motor City Machine Gun heel turn at some point, so. So we're going to see Cathy Kelly with the Bellas in the back. She asks if they will win the title. Bree says people should not underestimate them. Then out comes Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair with ice cream. Charlotte says they jumped the line for a title match and that is selfish. Charlotte then says they won't interrupt their match because they don't want to be the center of attention. And they got next. Nikki Bella then invites them to watch the match, and Brie Bella grabs Alexa's spoon. So the Bellas asked them to come down there. So, like I said, setting up for this one-on-one match at WrestleMania. We then see Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano and Danhausen show up to remove. She asked if he will remove the curse. Danhausen asked for $20. So this was funny. Everything he does is funny. So obviously Danhausen takes $20 out of Johnny Gargano's pocket, gives it to Danhausen. She's trying to wake him up. She looks up and Danhausen is gone. Alex Shelley then shows up. Chris Sabin reminds him about their match. Obviously, like I said, we're going to see later on in the next matchup that Candice LeRae has obviously they have something inkling. She has something going on with Alex Shelley. So they're hopefully they don't split them up, but I don't know if Chris Sabin is going to want to go heel or not. Like I said, because he did know that Candice LeRae got involved tonight. We then get a video package of the WWE Universe reacting to Randy Orton's actions. Obviously, you can see in the back, obviously, Cody's face, bloody face up on the TV. Sami Zayn is back there. Sami Zayn is the only one left. It's just all like starting to come together. Obviously, Randy wrestled Aleister Black, and then all that stuff happened. Obviously, Sami is gonna wrestle Aleister Black tonight. That heel Sami is eventually coming out sooner than later. It looks like Sami Zayn is just staring off into the TV, looking at Cody's bloody head. Kathy Kelly asked Sami about what happened last week. Sami said he should be focused on his match with Aleister, but he cannot stop thinking about Cody and what has been going on. Sami then says you have to say that Cody tries to be good and goes the extra mile to please the fans. Sami then says to see Cody stretched out in a pool of his own blood. Sami then says Randy does what he does, and he also looks up to Randy Orton. Sami then says he doesn't know what to make of it. Said Randy does what he does, but at the end of it, he's sitting in the middle of the ring with the WWE Championship belt. Sami then says the more he tries to do things the right way, the more it falls apart. Sami then says the world he believes in doesn't exist. Like I said, that heel turn is coming. Then he is interrupted by Trick Williams, who gets a huge pop. He's super over right now with the fans. Shows up and he brings up that he beat Jacob Fatu last week. He then says, the look on your face hurts. Sami then tells Trick they have been doing a lot of talking lately, so maybe they should do something else about it. Trick then says if he has time, he will check out Sami's match tonight and give him some pointers. Sami then gets in Trick's face, laughs at his suggestion. He tells Trick to get a real good look. So definitely, hopefully setting up for the Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams at WrestleMania. Get them on the card. So Nathan Frazier and Axiom make their way down to the ring for the next match of the night against the Motor City Machine Guns. In fact, I don't know how many times these tag teams have wrestled already. The match starts off with Frazier and Alex. Frazier applies a side headlock, hit a flying boot to Alex. Axiom then tags in, and Axiom applies a side headlock. Sabin then tags in. They hit a double shoulder tackle and go after Frazier on the apron. Alex then tags in, and they Irish whip Axiom, but Axiom hits an elbow and a boot. Axiom then hits a dropkick to Sabin when Alex sends him into the air. Frazier then tags in, and he kicks Alex. Axiom then hits a German suplex, followed by a double super kick to Alex and Sabin. Alex and Sabin then avoid Moscato that hits super kicks. Sabin then delivers a suicide dive onto Axiom and Frazier. Alex goes for the pinfall on Axiom and gets a count of 2. Alex then hits some knees to the head, hits a snapmare, and then Chris Sabin tags in. Sabin then hits a slingshot knee drop. He goes for the pinfall, gets a count of 2. Alex gets a tag in. They hit a double back elbow, and they alternate elbows and hit a double splash for a count of 2. Alex applies the front face lock, and Axiom delivers some punches. Alex then delivers some knees to the midsection. Chris Sabin tagged in, and Alex sends Axiom into Sabin's boots. Alex then tagged in, and Sabin sends Axiom into Alex's boots. Sabin then tagged in, so a lot of tags. Axiom kicks him, but Sabin kicks Axiom to the floor. Alex then applies an armbar to Axiom, but Axiom uses the ring post to give Alex an arm drag. Axiom then sends Sabin and Frazier tagged in and hits a foot dive over Alex and Sabin. Frazier then hits a frog splash, but Alex breaks up the pinfall at count of 2. Frazier then kicks Alex. Axiom then tags in. Chris Sabin hits an elbow to Axiom. Axiom then sends Frazier to Sabin. They hit the Chasing the Dragon for a count of 2. Sabin then punches Axiom off the turnbuckles, and Chris Sabin pushes Frazier off the turnbuckles and hits a double cross body. Alex then tags in, and Sabin hits a kick to send Axiom to the floor. Alex then gets a count of 2, and we can see Candice LeRae. We saw her way before they showed her. I saw her way before they showed her. You can see her like creeping down to the ringside. Candice LeRae then comes to the 2. They show Candice LeRae as she made her way down to the ring. Sabin then hits a back heel kick. Alex hits a sleeper kick. Nathan Frazier then hits a thrust kick to Sabin, and they hit suicide dives on the outside, really close, about 10-20 feet from Candice LeRae to Alex and Sabin. Alex then pulls Axiom off the turnbuckles. Nathan Frazier then gets a roll up. Chris Sabin kicked out. And then when the referee has a back turn, Candice LeRae steps up and she punches Nathan Frazier. And Sabin gets the pinfall, the roll up for the 1, 2, 3. And obviously Alex Shelley is looking over at Candice LeRae, knowing what happened. But Chris Sabin has no idea. He just thinks he got the win with the roll up. So like I said, Johnny Gargano doesn't have anything with Tommaso Ciampa leaving and going to AEW. So they could put them up, or they could both just join up with Johnny Gargano, make a faction there. So Motor City Machine Guns get the win. But then look back at what happened in the first part of SmackDown, obviously with the car wreck with Jacob and Drew. And then Randy Orton and Shawn appearing at the arena. He looks at the car wreck out there. So then take a look at the end of Monday Night Raw. Obviously the CM Punk Roman Reigns stuff. So we get the Viper Randy Orton for the first of many times tonight. His music hits. He makes his way down to the ring. Orton then enters the ring and he pulls out that dinner chair that he hit Cody with from the timekeeper's area and grabs a microphone. Orton then places the chair in the ring and has a seat. Randy Orton said for the years when his entrance music hit, everyone would sing along. Orton then says what a feeling that is. Love that they show him and he tries to return it. Orton then says he gives the fans high fives, he signs the action figures, replicas, and titles. Orton then says he will see a kid on his birthday and wish him a happy birthday. Orton then says the love that he shows them, that he gets back, that puts a smile on his face. And he said that smile is the emptiest feeling that he has had, that he has felt in his entire life. He's doing everything to get the fans to boo him, but it's not going to happen. Orton then says he has been doing this a long time, longer than most, but the reality is nothing lasts forever. Orton then says he doesn't want his legacy to be the smile that he puts on their faces. He wants his legacy to be how many world championship gold he has put around his waist. Orton then says not too long ago he won the Elimination Chamber and he was going to fight Drew McIntyre for the title. Orton then says he knew that he could be who he needed to be to beat Drew McIntyre. Orton then says, but then Cody Rhodes got back into the picture and Cody won. He didn't know if he could be who he needs to beat Cody. Randy Orton then says he loved Cody like a brother, but last week Cody took that burden off his chest. Orton then says Cody took that weight off his shoulders when he told him that he needed him to be the best version he could be. Orton then says he needs him to be the Viper and to listen to the voices. Orton then says the problem with listening to the voices is that he is not always in control. Orton then says sometimes things can happen Sometimes he gets hurt in the process, and just like anyone else, and he needs that killer instinct. Orton then says that he needs to add number 15 to his legacy. Orton then looks at the WrestleMania sign and says that he will do it with the 3 most dangerous letters in all of sports entertainment, RKO. Orton then says he hears voices in his head. They counsel him, they understand, they talk to me, and they tell me that he is going to beat Cody Rhodes. Orton then says the voices tell him he will beat Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. Orton then says they tell him he is going to beat Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, and he is going to do it at the main event of WrestleMania. So that was the end of the first promo segment, which was really good. So we're gonna see Randy a lot tonight. Peter Anthony says Cody Rhodes should retain the title. The best because if Randy wins, when the rematch called for the title will be put on Raw, then if Randy wins, who is his next opponent? I don't really know at this point. Maybe they could do a Randy Jacob. If Randy does win, I don't know. Randy Cody, I wouldn't think that they would run it back until maybe SummerSlam, but I don't really know at this point. If Cody wins, obviously they may run it back at Backlash, but like I said, it looks like they're going to do a Cody feud with Sammy of some sort. Randy needs to win to hold it to at least SummerSlam. I mean, that's what it's looking like, but we then take a look at WWE Hall of Famers, the fellas, back again. So we see Randy Orton walking backstage. Obviously, he just come from a promo. He stopped in front of Matt Cardona, who is a longtime friend of Randy and but Cody as well. Cardona asked Orton what that was last week with Cody, and he said he knows if Randy wants a title. Orton then gets angry and he tells Cardona that he has the nerve to speak to him like that. Randy then asks Matt Cardona if he has any action figures to go play with. He called him something nerd or something like that. Can't really remember exactly what he said to Matt Cardona. Then he hits Cardona with a right hand and tells him to stay out of his business because he wouldn't understand. He definitely went off on Cardona. So Aleister Black and Zelina then make their way down to the ring for the next match of the night, followed by Sami Zayn. But the lights go out before the match starts off, and Trick Williams makes his way out to the ring to observe, just like Sami told him to. So we go to the singles match, Aleister Black 1-on-1 versus Sami Zayn. The match starts off with Aleister Black punching Sami, and Sami hits an arm drag. Aleister then hits some forearms and some kicks. Aleister then hits some chops, and Sami hits some chops of his own. Sami then punches Black from the turnbuckles. Sami then hits a clothesline. He gets a near fall. Sami then hits an elbow to the back of the head. Trick then gets on the announce desk. Flaunting out there. Trick super over right now. Super over. Sami then blocks a kick and he delivers a clothesline. Trick continues to do his thing. Sami sees him. He is not impressed. Sami then goes to the apron and Aleister Black. He hits Aleister Black with the back elbow. Sami then goes up top and Aleister Black punches him while he's going up top. Sami fires back, punches Aleister Black to block a superplex. Sami then goes for a chop off the turnbuckles, but Aleister hits a knee and goes for the pinfall, but gets only 2. Aleister then hits a kick and a back elbow. Aleister then punches Sami and follows it up with a leg drop and another count of 2. They then exchange forearms and Aleister Black hits an Irish whip. Black then runs into a boot in the corner, and Sammy hits a sunset flip and goes for the pin and gets a count of 2. Alistair then delivers some kicks to the chest. Alistair then delivers some forearms. Sammy fired back with some punches to Alistair. Sammy then springboards over Alistair Black, and Black ends up hitting an elbow to Sammy. Sammy then avoids a back heel kick, and Alistair Black escapes a blue thunder bomb. Black then hits a jumping knee for a count of 2. Alistair then applies a knee bar, and he grapevines the leg. Sammy then goes for another pinfall, but Alistair kicks out at 2. Alistair then hits a kick to the temple, followed by some punches. Sammy then misses a Luba kick, and Alistair hits a meteor for a count of 2. Sammy then clotheslines Alistair over the top rope into the floor. Sami Zayn then goes to the floor, and he sends Alistair Black into the ringside barrier. Sammy then sends him into the barrier a second time, then sends Black back into the ring. Sammy then sets up for an exploder into the turnbuckles, and he hits it. Sammy then sets up for the Luba kick, and Alistair Black moves and goes to the floor in front of the announce desk. Sammy goes out after him to the floor, and Sammy pushes Trick Williams' lemon pepper steppers off the announce desk, and Sammy sends Alistair into the announce desk. Sammy then sends Alistair back into the ring, and Trick throws his water on top of Sami Zayn. Sammy's thinking about it there for a minute. Thinks about returning to the ring, but he turns around and punches Trick Williams and gets on top of him, well on the way. Sammy barely beats the count back into the ring, and then he is hit for the Black Mass, and Alistair Black stands over him before he goes for the pinfall. He gets the pinfall for the 1, 2, 3, and Sami Zayn's emotions have cost him again. Alistair Black gets the win tonight over Sami Zayn. Sting should have won WrestleMania. They got the WWE title from Seth. They give Sting a 2-year win streak and start major events and build up Taker Sting streak match in WrestleMania. We then head to the back where Matt Cardona tells Nick Aldis he wants Randy Orton tonight. Nick Aldis says it isn't happening after what happened with Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. So Cardona wanted a match with Orton tonight, but Nick said no. So then we see Carmelo. He is seen with Nick Aldis, and he's talking about the open challenge. Nick says it's closed because someone made a good argument for the match. Mad Dragon, Ilya Dragunov shows up, and he tells Carmelo Hayes he thought about what he said. He will always be fighting himself. He then says he will not be the man unless he takes the shots. Carmelo then says someone will be enjoying champagne and the other will be dealing with pain. Dragunov then tells him that pain will entertain. So then we see a promo from the Smackdown Women's Tag Team Championship champions, Nia Jax and Lash Legend. They are just two forces. Nia Jax cuts a promo and says it has been years since the Bellas tagged up. She then says they have never won a tag title. Nia then asks why do they think they have a snowball's chance in hell of winning. Lash Legend then says they're the center of the attention. She then says the Bellas are trying to relive their glory days. She then says Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, Bayley and Lyra, and the Kabuki Warriors all want a shot at them. So a good promo from the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So then we get Jade Cargill, the WWE Women's Champion. SmackDown Women's Champion Music hits. She makes her way down to the ring. Jade says she is not here to play with these people's time. She tells Rhea Ripley to bring her ass out here now. Out comes the challenger at WrestleMania, the Eradicator, Rhea Ripley. Her music hits. As I said, she had the Io Sky little clippy in her hair. If you're paying close attention to that. She makes her way to the ring, and Rhea asks if they're going to talk or they're going to do something. So she's tired of talking. Rhea says she is done talking. Jade then says it is about what Rhea needs. Jade then says Rhea needs the title. Jade then says she doesn't need the title, this ring, or the fans. Jade then says you have been grinding so hard to be somebody over this last year. Jade then says with or without wrestling, she is that bitch. Jade then says she is not here to make friends, she is here to make more money. Rhea then says Jade is successful if her goal is to not have any friends. Rhea then says she needs it and she lives for this. Rhea then says she has been doing this since she was 16 years old. Jade then says she does not care about what Rhea has sacrificed. She does not care about the women in the back. Rhea then stops before she lets Jade disrespect her and says this business. Obviously, Jade said something. She called her. She was about to call her a puppet of the year, and Rhea fired back about that. She then says, "You don't understand the business. If you think she needs that title," Rhea then says, "The title needs her." Rhea then says, "Now she wants that title, so she is going to take that title." Rhea then says, "That is why she is giving her a big WrestleMania match." Rhea then tells Jade, "Welcome to the big league, bitch." Rhea then tells Jade that she can take the first shot. Tells Jade Cargill to hit her. Jade Cargill acts like she's going to do it, but she doesn't. Jade then tells her on her time. Love what Jade had on as well tonight. So Jade leaves the ring, and out comes B5 and Meechin from behind her, and it kind of looks like they're going to force her back into the ring with Rhea Ripley, but they stand side by side with Jade Cargill. Jade then smiles, and now she has Meechin and B5 at her side. All three ladies then get on the apron, and B5 and Meechin make their way through the side of the ring, and Meechin has a kendo stick. Rhea hits a thrust kick to B5, but Meechin hits Rhea with the kendo stick. Jade then watches while Meechin and B5 attack Rhea. They then hold Rhea, and Jade hits a thrust kick and then delivers her finisher, hits Jaded on Rhea Ripley. And the three ladies stand tall. Baddies 2.0 is what I'm going to call them. Meechin, B5, and Jade Cargill. So I think she's for sure retaining. Like I said, I think Netflix really wants to keep Rhea Ripley over there on Raw. And they need to make. They're gonna do this with Jade. They need to make it credible. And, I don't know, maybe they want her to hold the title until Bianca comes back, or maybe Io gets involved in the storyline. Who knows? We still got 4 weeks left, but interesting to see what they do here. We then see Kit Wilson, and he says he has the Miz method down to deal with Jelly Roll. Miz then says his family vacation got delayed because of the weather. He then says he had to sit in a middle seat and got sunburned. Danhausen then showed up again, and he says he will help them against Jelly Jam. Jelly Roll, Jelly Jam. Miz then says he doesn't want any help from Danhausen. The ladder then falls behind him. He's cursed. Miz then tells Kit to do it by himself tonight. So then we go to another segment in the back. We see Solo Sikoa and the MFTs. Solo is pissed off that they lost the titles. Solo then tells the MFT that they can say goodbye to WrestleMania. JC Mateo then says it is on the Wyatts. Solo then says no, it is on you guys for losing. Tama then looks at the lantern and he tells Solo to give it back to the Wyatts. He then says Solo hasn't been acting the same since he took the lantern. He then tells Solo that he is starting to act like Roman Reigns. Solo said, "What did you just say to me?" And before they can get any farther, we got our second brawl of the night with Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. They fly past them and they go into the truck entrance in the back. Drew then goes for the eyes and security tries to keep them apart. So another good backstage segment with Drew and Jacob. Hopefully they're going to do a big stipulation match with those two guys at WrestleMania. It is then announced that Dennis Rodman is going to be the next person inducted into the WWE 2026 Hall of Fame. So then now we're set for our next match of the night, and in my opinion, the best wrestling match on the show tonight. There was a lot of bad wrestling on this show, and that's the United States Championship match, Carmelo Hayes and Dragunov, which I do think they're going to end up running this match back at WrestleMania. I don't think they're done with this. But I'll talk more about that on Scoop Sunday. So the match starts off with both men locking up. This was a 5. Every time two guys are in the ring, it's a 5-star match. The match starts off with both men locking up, and Carmelo gives them a break. They lock up again. Carmelo gives another break, but Dragunov pushes Hayes. Hayes then slaps Dragunov, and Dragunov wants more. Dragunov sends Hayes into the turnbuckle, and he chops and headbutts Carmelo. Dragunov then hits some chops in the corner. Dragunov then hits a kick, and he applies a waist lock. Carmelo then tries to back him to the corner, but Dragunov stops him. Carmelo then misses an enziguri, and Dragunov hits a kick and a Constantine special. Dragunov then delivers a waist lock takedown and a back senton for a near fall. Dragunov then hits a chop and a boot in the corner. No Cody Rhodes tonight, obviously on SmackDown. He will be back next week though. Dragunov then applies a front face lock and he hits a chop. Dragunov hits an Irish whip that sends Carmelo's sternum first into the turnbuckle, followed by a splash. Carmelo then hits a kick when Dragunov charges at him. Carmelo then delivers a forearm and a chop in the corner. Carmelo then blocks a suplex, and Dragunov hits a suplex and goes for the pin and gets a count of 2. Dragunov then hits a slam. He goes to the turnbuckle, then hits a knee drop to the chest and goes for the pin and gets a count of 2. Carmelo then kicks Dragunov, and Dragunov fires back. Hayes then hits a chop, and Dragunov responds right back with a chop. Dragunov goes for the domino stretch. Carmelo blocks it. Hilo then finally gets it applied and then hits some elbows to the head. Dragunov then delivers some more elbows. He goes for a domino stretch. Carmelo then hits some elbows and Dragunov hits a suplex, goes for the pinfall, gets a count of 2. Dragunov then hits a kick and a leaping boot to the head. Carmelo then hits some chops and forearms. Dragunov then applies a front face lock. Carmelo then gets Dragunov on his shoulders, but Hilo escapes. Hilo then goes for the Constantine special, and Carmelo hits a La Mystica and goes for the pinfall and gets a count of 2. Carmelo then hits a forearm into the corner, followed by a punch and a forearm. Carmelo then sends Dragunov to the floor, and Carmelo hits a flip dive on the floor. Carmelo then over rotates and he hits the announce desk. Yeah, that was a pretty bad landing there. Carmelo then goes up top and he hits a frog splash, but Hayes cannot capitalize based on the damage done to his ribs. That was a terrible fall. I was worried right there for a minute. Dragunov then catches Hayes on a springboard move and hits a German suplex. Dragunov then hits a back senton off the turnbuckle for a count of 2. Dragunov goes up top. Carmelo tries to counter with the first 48. Dragunov blocks it and hits an H-bomb, and Carmelo gets his foot on the rope for the referee counts to the 3rd count. Dragunov then hits a chop to the upper back against the ropes. Dragunov then hits a German suplex. He holds on. Carmelo delivers some elbows, but Dragunov still holds on to the suplex. Dragunov then tells Hayes to try harder. Dragunov then hits another German suplex and he holds on for more. Carmelo then powers out of the hole and headbutts Dragunov. Dragunov then blocks a kick and he hits a German suplex for a count of 2. Carmelo then kicks Dragunov in the chest. Dragunov goes for a powerbomb, but Hayes blocks it. Hayes then chops Dragunov, and Hayes hits a springboard clothesline. They then go to the apron, and Dragunov blocks a DDT on the apron. Dragunov then gets Hayes on his shoulder for a Death Valley driver on the apron. Dragunov then pulls Hayes to the turnbuckle through a superplex, and Hayes counters into a super cutter for a count of 2. Hayes then hits a chop, and Dragunov falls to his knees, but he wants more. Carmelo then hits some more chops, and Dragunov fires back with a punch. They go back and forth, forearms and chops. Dragunov then hits a boot and some chops, followed by a back fist and a chop to the knee. Carmelo then delivers a fierce drop kick. Dragunov fires back with a leaping stomp and a power bomb for a count of 2. A lot of near falls in this match. Dragunov then gets Hayes on his shoulders and hits a backbreaker for a 2 count. Dragunov then signals it's time for the Torpedo Moscow, but Hayes countered with the first 48, but only gets the count of 2. Carmelo goes to the turnbuckles for nothing but net, but Dragunov moves. But then Carmelo then rolls through, and Dragunov hits a Torpedo Moscow, and he goes for a powerbomb, but Carmelo Hayes counters with a code red for the 1, 2, 3, and your winner and still the United States champion in a banger match is him, Carmelo Hayes, but phenomenal match. So we go to the back, we see Jelly Roll congratulating R-Truth and Damian Priest on winning the tag titles. Damian Priest tells Jelly Roll to come holler at them later on. They're going to be going out for a drink to celebrate. Jelly Roll then stops to talk to Randy Orton. Randy says he is so sorry for last week and he asks Jelly to forgive him. Jelly Roll then says he is worried for Randy. Jelly then says he knows what it feels to be known for your worst action. Jelly Roll then says you did the work to change yourself and become a better man. Jelly then says he doesn't know why Randy is trying to be a version he's already beat. Jelly then says he knows a different version of Randy. Jelly then says he knows a man full of love. Jelly then talks about being a husband, a father, and a man that Randy Orton is. Jelly then says that is who he knows. Jelly Roll then tells Randy that is the man who had his back at SummerSlam. Jelly then said he doesn't know who the Randy who was here last week, but what he did to Cody. Jelly then says money and titles come and go, and family is always here. Randy then asks Jelly Roll how to deal with Matt Cardona. Jelly then says they will start with Cardona. Randy then says he hears Jelly. He tells Jelly that he loves him. So Jelly Roll is going to have to get punt kicked or a beatdown. So we hear Kit Wilson's music hit, and at first I was like, this is going to be bad, but this was a pretty funny segment. Both of them were hilarious. Just interesting to see where they go toward WrestleMania with this. He makes his way down to the ring, and before he gets in the ring, we take a look back at the Seth Rollins segment from Raw with the addition of Brock Lesnar and Wwe from last week. They show the tape, obviously, with Brock Lesnar and Wwe. Kid tells Jelly Roll he crossed the line last week and started this fight. Kid then said he finishes it tonight. Kid then says where he comes from, he settles things like a man, like men. Kid then tells Jelly Roll to come out. Jelly Roll makes his way down to the ring. Jelly Roll gets on the apron, and Kit goes to the board. Jelly then says if this is what Kit wanted, this is what he is going to get. Jelly Roll then calls for a referee, says he wants to fight tonight. Kit then stops Jelly and tells him that bravado and ego is ahead of the brain. He then says they will settle this like civilized gentlemen. Kit then said he does not fight with his fists. Kit then said he fights with his words. Jelly then asked Kit if he was brought to Raleigh, North Carolina for a rap battle. Jelly then says Kit is a decent dancer, but not a rapper. Kit then says he is better than a rapper. Kit said he's better than Jelly. Kit then said tonight is, and the lights down, is slam poetry. Jelly Roll is like playing this up to the crowd. He's amazed that Kit Wilson has brought a book out there. Kit then reads his poem. Obviously, you guys know what he said. I'm not going to repeat all that on stream. Jelly then tells Kit that was pretty good. Jelly then says he didn't bring a book, but he has something for him. But he fired back about Kit's mom, which I'm also not going to repeat. But it was funny, though. Good segment with these two. Kit then attacks Jelly Roll from behind. And he hits a splash into the corner. Kit then goes up top and he hits an elbow drop onto Jelly Roll. And obviously that's going to set up the match for next week. Kit Wilson one-on-one with Jelly Roll. So we see Kiana James in the back with Julia. She tells Julia that she doesn't have to tell her about what happened. She knows she lost to Tiffany last week. Julia then says she will deal with Tiffany Stratton next week. So it is official next week for the Women's United States Championship. Julia will defend against Tiffany Stratton. But here comes Chelsea Green and Apple Fire. Chelsea shows up in her wheelchair. Says the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Julia then says she doesn't need any help. Lash Legend and Nia Jax are making their way down to the ring, and Nia Jax pushes Chelsea Green's wheelchair away. We then see Nick Aldis on the phone. Jelly Roll goes up to Nick and says he wants Kit Wilson. Nick then gives Jelly the match for next week. Jelly Roll says he will be there. So the WWE Women's Smackdown Tag Team Champions, the Irresistible Forces, then make their way down to the ring for the next match of the night, followed by the Bella Twins. Never think I'd ever see this again. This is for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Irresistible Forces, Nia Jax, Ibushi Bully, Lash Legend versus WWE Hall of Famers, the Bella Twins, Brie Bella, and Nikki Bella. Match starts off with the Bella Twins hitting a double drop kick. Nikki and Nia are now in the ring. Nikki applies a headlock, but Nia sends her to the ropes and hits a shoulder tackle. Nia then goes for an elbow, but Nikki moves out of the way. Brie Bella is then tagged in, and they double team Nia Jax. Brie then applies an armbar, and Nikki is tagged back in. Nikki then climbs the top rope, hits a double axe handle. They then hit Lash with their right hand off the ring apron. And then we hear Charlotte Flair's music hit. She's in her close to her hometown. Fans are popping hard for Charlotte. Alexa make their way out to the ring. That distracts the Bella Twins, and Lash hits them with their right hand. Lash then chucks Nikki in the corner. Lash then hits an Irish whip, and they splash into the corner. Lash then sends Nikki to the floor. Nia picks up Nikki, and she sends Nikki into the announce desk. Nia then hits a chop. Nia then sends Nikki into Charlotte and Alexa. Lash and Nia then have words for Charlotte and Alexa. Charlotte Flair then gets up with no shoes on, and Nia kicks Nikki in the back. Nia then sends Nikki into the turnbuckles. Lash then hits some forearms while Nia holds Nikki. Lash then gets a count of 2 and a positive reverse chin lock. Lash then slams Nikki to the mat when she tries for a tag. Lash then hits some shoulders to Nikki. Lashley gets a cover for a count of 2 and tags in Nia. Lashley hits an Irish whip and Lash runs into boots. And Nia runs into an elbow. Nikki hits a springboard round kick in the corner. Nia then stops Nikki from making the tag, but Nikki hits an enziguri and Brie tags in and hits a missile drop kick on Nia. Brie then knocks Lash off the apron. Brie then hits a running knee against the ropes. Nia goes for a Samoan drop, but Brie goes for a sunset flip. Nia then does not go over, and she misses the sit-down splash on Brie. Brie then delivers a series of yes kicks to the champs, and this time Michael Cole wouldn't say it on Raw. Michael Cole said it was a miss kick, but Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett said this was a yes kicks. Daniel Bryan reference. Lash then misses a bicycle kick, and Brie drop kicks Lash to the floor. Nia then hits a pop-up headbutt. Nia then misses Brie and goes to the floor. Nikki then tags in and she hits a crossbody off the turnbuckles onto Nia and Lash on the floor. Didn't expect that. Nikki goes up top, but Lash distracts her. Nia then hits Nikki and Lash tagged in when Nia goes to the turnbuckles for a Super Samoan drop. She nailed it. Lash then goes to the turnbuckles and she hits a frog splash for a count of 2 is broken up by Brie. Nia then sends Brie into the apron. Nikki then applies an STF. Flair stops Nia from hitting Brie with the title belt. The referee then calls for the bell, so we have a disqualification. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss interfere. Winners are still the WWE Women's Tag Team Champion due to a disqualification. Nia Jackson, Lash Legend. After the match, Flair sends Nikki into the apron. Nikki then sent Charlotte Flair into the turnbuckles. Then Alexa then kicks Brie while Flair kicks Nikki. So they are going to be going at it in a tag team match next week. Charlotte and Alexa versus the Bella Twins. Looking forward to that. Four of my favorites. Flair is then sent into Nikki in the corner by Lash. Nia then hits a splash to Alexa and Brie. Lash then holds Charlotte Flair, and Nia hits a leg drop off the turnbuckle. All of the ladies are left playing while the champs stand tall. Like I said, next week, we're going to have Julia versus Tiffany Stratton for the United States Championship, Jelly Roll versus Kit Wilson, and we're going to have the Bella Twins against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. We then see Randy Orton for another segment, and he is on the phone again. He was on the phone with somebody Monday. He says he is glad that he picked up. Randy then says he is going to go to the ring and fix it to whoever he was talking to on the phone. Like I said, it is announced next week. Jelly Roll faces Kit Wilson. Julia defends her women's U.S. title against Tiffany Stratton, and the Bellas face Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. So Randy Orton makes his way out again to the ring for the second time of the night. He has a chair with him. This time Randy's like, first time he didn't do this. This time he's like giving a high five to the fans and all that. And I had somebody put in the chat, he already turned back face, and I'm like, no. He's gonna snap out. He's gonna snap on Cardona or Jelly Roll or somebody. So Randy then sits down and then throws the chair down and stands up. Randy says he has an apology that he has to make to everyone and one to Matt Cardona. Randy then asks Matt to come out to the ring because he wants to do it in front of everyone. Matt Cardona then makes his way down to the ring, and if you were reading Matt Cardona's lips, he said, "I don't trust you." Which, if he would have kept heed to that, it wouldn't have what happened to him tonight. But Randy then tells Matt that he has been out of his head the last few weeks. Randy then says he is legitimately sorry. Randy then says action figures are cool. He says, "I play video games." Randy then says he has known Matt for 20 years. Randy then says he is sorry. Randy then says next week he has an apology to make to Cody Rhodes since he's not here tonight. Randy then asks Matt if he will forgive him. They then shake hands and hug, and obviously this was set up. Randy then kicks Matt in the same spot he kicked Cody, then in between the legs, and he hits a bomb ass RKO on Matt Cardona. Then he sends Matt to the floor and punches him on the announce desk. Randy then rearranges the ring steps. Officials then try to stop Randy, and Randy looks around looking crazy. Randy says he is fine. Randy then looks around and he sends Matt into the ring. He punches Matt many times and kicks him as well, rips the shirt off of him. Randy then puts a chair, obviously, he puts the chair on Matt Cardona's arm, but the officials try to pull Randy off. And he's standing around, he's hearing those voices. And then he comes to the officials and stomps on the arm on the chair and probably broke Matt Cardona. Chelsea Green got a broken ankle, and now her husband probably has a broken arm or shoulder or something. Randy then backs up the aisle, and security is standing next to him. You can tell Nick Aldis, this isn't you, Randy, this isn't you. But when they're making their way back to the back with Randy, something is flashing back on the top of the screen in the parking lot, and it's Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu fighting outside the arena, about 10 to 15 feet up in the air, on some sort of scaffold or something like that. And they're punching each other. They're both kind of hanging there for the fall. They're on the unsafe side of the guardrail, and Fatu hit some headbutts. And like I said, couple punches back and forth, but Jacob hits a headbutt, and Drew is going to fall off the little guardrail about 15 foot from the ground or something like that. And he pulls Jacob Fatu down with him. Obviously, the Nick Aldis and the officials were looking over into the parking lot over a fence. They could not get over there. Nick Aldis then asked for the medics as the show comes to a close. Like I said, it was a pretty good show. I don't know, with SmackDown being 3 hours and WrestleMania pushed back, it's a lot to put, to put on a card for 3 hours, and they still got 4 weeks to build all of that. So, what's going on, Ben? Too good to see you. I saw SmackDown and I cried for Rhea. I'm not going to be okay after that beat up. Jade, you're not winning at WrestleMania, and trust that. Yeah. Hopefully they have some more. They add to this angle. Maybe Io gets involved in this. Obviously she was mentioned tonight, Jade's promo. So hopefully they get her involved in this instead of just having B5 each an attack via every week up until WrestleMania. I love what they did with Jade, aligning her with B5 and Meechin. I love that, but I think that they need to do a lot more with the build. They started it, but they need to keep the build up. But they definitely ramped it up. But like I said, I do feel like Rhea is more wanted on Netflix, so this could be a way for Jade Cargill to be put over and have Rhea get back to Monday Night Raw. I just didn't see her sticking around on SmackDown anyway, because Netflix is highly wants Rhea Ripley on that show on Monday. So we'll see how it goes at WrestleMania. If I had to make my pick tonight, I would obviously pick Jade, even though I'm a Rhea fan. I just don't see Rhea Ripley winning the title. That I think she's going to end up back on SmackDown. On Raw, back on Netflix with Io. But we'll see. There's still 4 weeks to go. We'll see if anybody else gets involved in the story. Like I said, we still got 4 weeks until WrestleMania. Next week on SmackDown, we're going to see Julia defend the United States Championship against Tiffany Stratton, which I thought was originally for WrestleMania, but looks like they have pushed it up. Unless it's gonna be a DQ match or something next week. That's more than likely what could probably possibly happen. What I'm hoping for anyway. I don't see a title change happening next week. Like I said, I think it could be a DQ finish or something like that. At least a rematch at WrestleMania. I'm hoping for. Like I said, they gotta add some more matchups to the card. So that is it, guys, for me for the SmackDown recap tonight. Like I said, good show. Had some flat parts, but also some good deals. But we need to start getting some matches after this card. Triple H, like I know we're less than 4 weeks away. I know you don't like stuff put out there until right before and all that, but we need to start getting some matches announced. It'll be interesting to see what happens next week when Cody Rhodes comes back to SmackDown. I do like what they're doing with Randy, but a lot of it feels really pushed, like forced. So it's gonna be interesting to see where they go with that. Like I said, make sure you guys tune in to DWE Radio tomorrow. I will not be live. I will be tuned in as well with Miami the CEO, head of the table himself, Miami the Great, the Unseen Bling Queen. The other half of Talking Up Wrestling Podcast. Make sure you follow them on X and give them a subscription on YouTube as well. They will be live tomorrow, I believe, at 4 p.m. Eastern for DWE Radio. Make sure you tune into that. Jay mentioned Rhea shut her down so quick. I was like, oh, Rhea didn't like that. Yeah, she had Ia's hair clip in her hair. So like I said, I don't know if Ia is going to get dragged into the story, but Rhea definitely didn't like Jay bringing up Ia at all. So, feel like maybe Ia may get involved, but like I said, so it's interesting to see what they do with going forward. Obviously, somebody put the highlights of it on X about they showed the clippy that Rhea had in her hair and it said Io on it. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with this if they bring Io into the story. So appreciate that unknown force 88. Details of the matches and backstage segments. The president, thank you so much. Appreciate you. All right, guys. That is it for me for the SmackDown recap tonight. Try to get it in less than an hour and a half, 3-hour show. Once again, April 26th will be the debut of LF2 Season 3 at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you guys are tuned in for that. Make sure you hit the notification bell and reminder on my YouTube channel. If you're watching live on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button. Love the YouTube comments. So shout out to everyone that commented tonight. Shout out to Pintu watching live from X. 101 viewers we have watching live. Started off slow, but we picked up. So shout out to everybody that came in tonight. Appreciate you guys tuning in. There she is herself, the Unseen Blinghausen, DWE Podcast. I was just talking about you guys. I told them make sure that they tune in to you guys at 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for DWE Radio. Yeah, I kind of figured he was. I texted him, but he didn't respond back. It's hard to really talk about this show right now. It was pretty decent, but oh my God, it had some parts that I was like falling asleep. But yeah, appreciate the repost and everything. Hope you sleep well. I'll be tuned in to you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune in to DW Radio tomorrow with the Unseen Blinghausen and Miami the Great live at 4 p.m. Eastern. Good show. Very detailed. They go over Raw and SmackDown from this past Raw and SmackDown from tonight. So make sure you guys give them a follow on X and a subscription. Talk Up Wrestling Podcast on YouTube. Make sure you guys tune. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, yeah, there wasn't very many people in here, and then the numbers started climbing. I was like, somebody must be retweeting it. But I appreciate that. It was a very long SmackDown, so oh my god, I can't imagine you guys having to cover both of the shows. But yeah, look forward to listening to you guys tomorrow for sure. Glad you help. Appreciate the help, helping me out. I figured he was probably asleep. The best show on the radio. It's not on the radio. To go to the radio, make sure you tune in tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time as they dissect Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and talk about all the focal points as we go into WrestleMania. And like I said, I do have a Twitter post out. I'm still looking for 2 more people for the Stand and Deliver prediction show, which will be April 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I got 3 more seats left available for the WrestleMania prediction show, which will be April the 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you comment on that post, retweet it, and DM me if you don't want to comment. And let's get both of these shows built up. We got some goats on the panel, so I'm looking forward to that. Coming up in not just coming up week, but the next will be Elimination Chamber week. So yeah, looking forward to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to my outro, and then I'll be back to tell you guys where you can find me on my socials and what I have coming up for the rest of this weekend and next week.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps Prediction Sports. Let go, show recaps prediction sports
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps Prediction Sports. Let go.
All right, like I said, appreciate you guys. 104 people tuned in. Make sure you guys tune in to UW Radio tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. Always a good show on every Saturday. Sometimes it's on Wednesday as well. As far as where you can find me out on my socials, it is scrolling at the bottom of the screen in the blue. Obviously, my links are all in my bio. But you can follow me on X at EVPCJP. Instagram, same handle at EVPCJP. If you're looking for me on TikTok, you can find me at Brady the Goat 21. At Brady at BRADYDA Goat 21. Last but not least, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do follow me on X, it is pinned to the top of my X account. You guys get a second, go in there, retweet it, send it to your friends, family, anybody that likes NXT, WWE, TNA. I do recaps of all the shows, obviously PLE predictions and PLE recaps as well. Also LFG when it gets started in a little over a month. Make sure you guys send it to your friends and family so they can hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on the notification bell so you guys are reminded when I go live, which is at least 5 times a week. So but yeah, if you're not already subscribed to my channel and you're looking for it, you just go to the search engine, search bar up top, and type in at the EVP Show. And you can find me there. Plenty of lives, plenty of shorts, plenty of content for you guys to check out on the channel. Shout out to everyone that helped me get to over 200 subscribers. Now the climb is to 300. I did get to 200 before WrestleMania, so shout out to everyone for that. Appreciate it. And if you go back and watch this live, make sure you hit the like button on my stream and comment. You can always go back and comment. I will always try to go back in and check the comments. And I will try to answer them as I see them come in. So yeah, appreciate that. What I have coming up tomorrow, I don't have any streams, but you can catch UW Radio live at 4 p.m. Eastern. But Sunday, I'm back at 6 p.m. Eastern time. A lot of news to cover. A lot of news. I don't know how I'm going to get it all in. A lot of news has happened since last Sunday's scoop. It is going to be Sunday Night Scoop with the EVP, episode 12 at 6 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday. So make sure you set your reminder, come on in and join us. The first 30, 45 minutes of news. Then I open up the question to Twitter and YouTube channels for 30 to 45 minutes. So that is Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, episode 12, Sunday Night Scoop with the EVP. That is Sunday night. Tomorrow I am off. I will not be streaming, so you won't be seeing me go live tomorrow. But I could come into DW Radio. You never know. Maybe not. Probably not. I'll love it. I like to just listen to them. But yeah, Sunday 6 p.m. Eastern. Do not miss me. Do not miss it live. It is episode 12 of Sunday Night Scoop with the EVP as we talk about NXT, LFG, and WrestleMania. A little bit of AEW, not much, but I got a lot of WWE news to cover. Next week, Monday, I'm back at 11 p.m. Eastern Time for your Raw recap. Tuesday night is going to be, we're getting closer to Stand and Deliver. We're like less than 2 weeks away. So it's exactly 2 weeks today, or Saturday, tomorrow, from Stand and Deliver. But Tuesday night, catch me live at 10:30 p.m. Eastern for my NXT recap. And I'm off next Wednesday. I'm back live. It is the Go Home's TNA before TNA Sacrifice, which comes on Friday, same day as SmackDown. But I'm live Thursday night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for the TNA recap show. And then you can catch me again Friday. Next Friday after SmackDown goes back, what will be the fallout of SmackDown next Friday? And Cody Rhodes turns to SmackDown. Catch me live at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the SmackDown recap. And next Saturday, I'm off as well. And next Sunday, catch me live for episode 13 of Sunday Night Scoops with the EVP. That being said, guys, hope you guys enjoy your Saturday. Make sure you tune in to DWE Radio tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. I am the EVP from the EVP Show, the Golden Boy of DWE. DWE is the place to be. Good night, everyone. Hope you guys enjoy your Saturday, and I will see you guys Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for Sunday Night Scoops with the EVP. Good night, everyone.